Warning, what you are about to hear is two guys talking completely unfiltered.
Cut. What are you doing? We don't do disclaimers. The show's called Totally Unprofessional for a reason.
I'll see what you did. You're wasting our intro time.
Yeah. Start the show.
All right, welcome back. We are episode
29
and counting. Numbers going up, gets higher every week, twice a week.
Yep.
So we're due to have a guest. He couldn't make it, so we're gonna fly by the seat of our pants somewhat today. Justin had a good experience this weekend over at Dodger Stadium.
Didn't get stabbed. It was a good thing.
You know, to be fair, I was there last year. I went to 2 games of the Dodgers Giants series over there. It wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't. I didn't get heckled by anybody being a fan of the opposing team.
Yeah, not a bad stadium.
There was actually, surprisingly, there was a lot of Red Sox fans at that game.
I hear Anaheim's not the best place to watch games.
I've been there, but I haven't been there as a fan of the opposing team. When I went, I didn't have any skin in the game, so
okay.
I don't really know.
Yeah, last time I was there, we watched a guy get smacked upside the head with a Dodger dog. Weenie to the
Took
dome.
a wiener to the face.
Wiener to the face. That's not something one dude should do to another.
That's right. No, it was a good game. Our seats were good. We were right above the first digital ribbon that goes around the stadium. It was a little warm for LA. I mean, it was 78 at game time, but it felt hotter than that being in the sun.
You guys were on the first base side or the third
Yeah,
base?
we're in the first.
So you were on the shade because it was later in the day?
No, it goes down the other way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we had to wait for the shade till the late innings. I was fine with it. I was wearing jeans and my jersey and a hat, so I was fine. As you could see, I'm
not burned up.
Not burned.
No.
But the girlfriend had to hold up a sign. Yeah, it was a good game. High scoring game. The final was 8-5. The Dodgers did win. Gonzalez hit his 300th career home run.
Nice. You said they escorted him out?
The guy who caught the ball, yeah, they took him out of there to make sure that Gonzalez got the ball. I'm sure they do it many times when there's a milestone of some sort.
I just told you, too, I'd have been like, middle finger this, buddy. This is going on eBay, and you're either going to give me $25,000 for this, or I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
You know? That's just my opinion.
Some people that respect the game are willing to give it back to that person because of that
money
love.
talks and bullshit walks, right?
I get
it.
You know?
I
get it. I mean, shit, if you need the money.
It ain't even about needing the money. It's about you hit it, I caught it, it's my ball.
I get it, but like I said, it's a historical thing.
There was if you remember when Bonds hit, I don't remember what number it was. He tied his Godfather.
Yeah.
The guy that caught it actually gave it up and said, "No, this belongs to the family. You know,
yeah.
This goes back." And then Bonds happened to hit the next one right to him too.
Yeah.
You know, so
it worked out.
Karma. You know, it worked out for the guy in the end, I guess.
Speaking of that, although the Dodgers did win, Ortiz did get to pitch hit for Price. So I got to see David Ortiz's last at bat in Dodger Stadium. So I got to see Ortiz's 400th home run in Oakland. Now I got to see Gonzalez's 300th home run at Dodger Stadium and Ortiz's last appearance in Dodger Stadium.
Nice.
So
Did they do anything for him?
they donated money to his foundation.
Okay.
And then he wasn't planned to play all weekend because it's an interleague game, so there's no DH. But on Saturday night, he played some first base and then got taken out. But he has issues. The reason why he's retiring is he has issues with his heels and his feet.
Oh.
And so
he's a big man.
He's 6'4", about 240. So he's not little. And he says that that's his biggest issue is the pain in his feet every day. And so they said he was getting treatment all weekend. And Hanley Ramirez didn't play either because he fell downstairs on Wednesday in Seattle and hurt his wrist.
Brutal.
So I took a picture of them sitting at the top of the dugout thinking that he wasn't going to play, and then he got to pinch hit. And then they showed a nice video of Ortiz going up to the box and before the game and visiting with Vin Scully because it's Scully's last year too.
Yeah.
So that was good. And just the ballpark in general, I was kind of expecting it to be kind of not trashy but old. And it is old, but it's a cool type of old.
Yes, it is.
The area with the palm trees and how it overlooks LA,
they did a real good job over there.
Yeah, it's real cool.
How they're keeping it up and everything, they're top notch.
Yeah,
they're not. I mean, anything Magic Johnson's willing to stick his hands in, they're going to take care of it and make it presentable.
People better be wearing masks and scrubs. Oh, that's not where you're going with it?
Not that kind of sticking hand in.
No, but yeah, it's a nice park. I'm glad I went. like you had let me know, a couple people actually had let me know that like the parking there's not bad at all. It's easy access.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it was in. We got in no problem. We got out no problem. It was pretty easy. But yeah, it was fun. Definitely worth the trip. I'll get to see the Red Sox and Ortiz again in Oakland. One, possibly 2 games. The way that it goes down. So I'll get to see him twice this year for sure. It'll be fun. Got to visit with my sister. Stayed at her house. First time I had drank whiskey with her boyfriend. And he has like a whole bar set up with a pool table in their house. It's a nice setup. And we met up with a longtime friend of mine and his wife, Chris and Serena. And we went and had Thai food. I'd never had Thai food, so we went out and had Thai food.
It's a good Thai restaurant. I'll take you to it if I sell you that.
All right. I had some Thai food, and we hung out, had some good conversation, went back and started playing pool and having a few drinks, and he pulled out some Elijah Craig. And I bought it for him for Christmas, and he's been working his way through the bottle. And I tell you what, man, I took a drink of that, and that shit burned my nostrils all the way through my throat, and I went, fuck. We got to talking, and everybody's having a good time, and we're relaxing and BSing and playing pool, and he gets into the bottom cabinet of his bar area and pulls out some Johnny Walker Blue Label. Ooh. So for those of you who don't know, there's many different labels. There's red label, black label, green label, and blue, I believe is what it is. And they're expensive as shit.
Yeah, those aren't cheap bottles.
He got that bottle for $130 on sale. So he had mentioned to us that he had bought it for a special occasion, and that occasion came and went, and he'd never opened it. So we were sitting there, and everybody's just kind of like finishing their drink, and we're all kind of looking around at each other. And I said, well, how special is it that I'm here and, Chris is here? And so my sister kind of gave him a little bit of ration of shit, and he said, you know what, if you guys are down, I'll crack this open right here.
Nice.
And I tell you what, bro, I had a little bit of it in a glass. Chris had some, and Ryan had some. And I tell you what, I can see why people get broke and drunk on that shit. It is so smooth. It's not even funny. And I don't, like I said, I don't drink whiskey. Like, that's not my thing. But it was good all the way down. It was solid.
Nice,
so that was fun. And like I said, got to have a good time with them and enjoy some good company and have some adult conversations about. I tell you what, man. At 28, I never thought I'd be sitting there having a conversation about jobs and and the fact that like none of the 3 couples that were there have any kids, but we all have nieces and nephews and talking about them and all that stuff. It was funny. So it was a good time.
It's definitely fun to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I got a trip with my brother coming up in it's got to be about 2 months now.
Yeah, for the game.
We're gonna spend a weekend in Dallas together. That's definitely more for him, but they are playing Cincinnati. But this is both of our dream trips because we both wanted to visit that new state, Jerryland, we call it. Yeah. So we're both wanting to take a visit over there. So we'll see what happens. It should turn out pretty good.
Yeah.
So while you were screwing around out there in LA, I hooked up with some boys from work, and we went to the Stag in Exeter, and we watched midget wrestling. And for those of you that don't know, it's Run Through Vendetta Wrestling. They travel around.
I just want to know where the ticket's half off.
That's a bad midget joke.
Just saying.
Ricky Range would not appreciate that, bro.
Hey, well, tell Ricky Range to stand on a stack of phone books and he can tell me to my face.
So we were out there at the Stag in Exeter. We checked out the midget wrestling. They had... I think they had 4 or 5 midgets total. One of them was an announcer. 3 of them were wrestlers, and one of them was a female. We got some pictures. We'll shoot them up, throw them up there. It's a good picture. We took one with the female wrestler. Well, she wasn't a wrestler. She was like what would you call them? Like not even a manager, like the
valet.
A valet, yeah. And it was pretty cool though, man. I tell you what, there was one of them. His name was Little Homie. You'll see it on my Snapchat story. If you follow me on Snapchat at all, my Snapchat story, I threw it on there. That guy's a high flyer, man. He belongs in the Luchador League over there in Mexico. Dude, he was jumping around, backflips, and man, it was pretty crazy. Give sports entertainment a whole different point of view. If you watch WWE, you understand that it's not fake. While it is staged, it's not fake. They're definitely falling and rolling and jumping and
the physicality is very real.
Yeah, it's very real. Man, I'll tell you what, we got there early because the ticket said 4, so we got there at 3:30. They didn't end up starting till like 6:15. So we got to see them assemble the ring and
everything. Right on.
Man, I'll tell you what, I would not want to be landing the way they were landing.
You get to see what that ring's made of.
Jeez. You're seeing these little guys, and my little guys, these guys, no taller than 3 feet. I don't know what they weigh, but they're definitely
2 sacks
they're
of potatoes.
definitely more round than in shape, I would say.
Yeah.
And
I think that's just the stature of little people in general.
These guys were flying around
because it's not really stretched out.
Yeah, high cross bodies, drop kicks. I mean, these guys were getting down. I was real impressed with the physical abilities of these little people, if that's what you want to call them. They were definitely geared for the show. The show was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Is that a pun intended?
No pun intended. But it was definitely a good show. They had a full size man wrestle a midget. Of course, they let the midget win.
Right.
You know, and then they had some female wrestlers there. There were 2 of them, and then they had another. Then they had 2 midgets wrestle each other, and then they had a midget battle royal.
There you go.
That was awesome. Okay, so
you gotta get thrown out of the bottom rope. Is that how?
Well, because the venue was so small, he said that they weren't going to let him throw him out of the ropes because there's no clearance. I mean, literally, there was one during the El Tigres match. He went on the top rope, and they told him, he said, "Look, we're not going to jump out of the ring, but just don't stand next to the ropes." Well, this homeboy gets up on the top rope and did a flying crossbody outside of the ring at the guy that was out of the ring. They knocked 2 people over.
Nice.
It was freaking awesome.
Did it look like they were bowling with midgets?
Man, it was funny. They bounced, man. I was like, dude, that's concrete over there that they just landed on. That was ridiculous. So, that was that instance.
Tell me this: if you caught him coming out of the air like that, if you're like the people that got knocked down and you catch him, is that a souvenir you get to take home?
I know. I would not be right. You take a midget home, put him on the stand. Or
No, I caught you in the crowd. You're coming home with me. That's how that works.
Your own personal midget.
That's right.
So how about this one? So okay, I think it was the second match. I think it was the female match. These girls are in there wrestling, and we're up against the ring. So it's me, it's Louie. Everybody knows Louie. We've mentioned Louie several times on this show.
The mayor of Woodlake.
The mayor of Woodlake. I work with that guy over at the gas. So it's me, him, and 3 other guys from work. We got Tommy, Caesar, and we got my cousin Ricky. So we're out there, and we're up against the post. So it's time for another beer run. So Ricky goes over to get everybody's beers. Now, I'm not drinking because I'm the sober driver, so I'm 100% aware. Louis standing up close to the ring, and I told him and I told Caesar, because they're standing right next to each other, hey, you guys better back up, man. These girls are flying back and forth. They're bending those ropes. Well, we happen to be on the side of the ropes that weren't as tight as the other 3.
Okay.
So Louis taking pictures, Caesar's taking pictures. Louis turns to the side to start posting something. I'm assuming it was Instagram or Snapchat or something. They throw the girl into the rope, and I said, Louis, and before his name could finish coming out of my mouth, that girl bent the rope and reached back and smashed Louis in the head with an elbow.
Yeah.
I mean, his glasses are all jacked up, and I'm like, dude, did you get hit? He's like, yeah, check it out. He had a knot on his forehead.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, are you serious? He was like, dude, that was awesome. I was like, you're lucky she didn't knock your ass out, dude. I mean, come on, dude. So all throughout the night, the announcer, he's saying, hey, don't get away from the ropes, get away from it. Because there were people, I mean, here, they start 2.5 hours late.
Yeah.
And you're just giving people more time to drink. We're at a bar, it's like, what do you think was going to happen? But yeah, he got smashed in the face. It was pretty cool there. It was a good time. Yeah, I've never had a bad time hanging out with guys from work. So every time I get a chance to, I try to, just because it's fun.
Yeah.
Everybody knows their limits. Everybody knows their boundaries. And I offered to be the sober driver that night. So everybody was like, oh, good, thanks. So they're drinking it up, having a good time. But it was
to the mayor of Woodlake, Louis, if for whatever chance you have and stroke you have and pull in that city, I don't know what festival you do. In the town we live in, we have Cinco de Mayo, we have Raisin Day. Whatever you guys have going on, give them a call. Bring midget wrestling to your town.
Okay, so one step ahead of you already.
Okay.
He was already hitting up the wrestling promoter to try to get them into Woodlake for their next festival for the Brewfest.
Yeah.
So I guess at the Brewfest, Louis is going to try to get the midget wrestling to book over there in Woodlake, and that's what they're going to have out there in the park.
Politicking out there.
Oh,
Good job, Louis.
This guy's out there slinging it. It was awesome listening to him.
Good job.
So I heard an interesting story over the weekend. Not going to say the guy's name to protect the innocent, but we've mentioned him several times, including recently. So he's telling me a story. We're on our way from... I had picked him up, and we're on our way to our event. All right, and he's laughing, and I'm like, what's up, dude? He goes, I got to tell you about this. What happened? And I was like, what's up? He goes, well, I was working last night. I was like, yeah. He goes, and I noticed some chick hit me up on Snapchat. And I was like, okay. And he goes, It was late. I was like, what, like 1, 2? What? He goes, yeah, I was like 2 in the morning. I was like, so it was a booty call hit up is what it was, right? He goes, well, it didn't start like that, but yeah. He goes, so, I have my brother drop me off at her house. And I was like, okay. So we're there, and, one thing leads to another. He goes, and it's on. We're upstairs, and we're going at it. I was like, okay, not normal single dude story,
Right.
So he's like, yeah, we're smashing away, and I'm drunk. I said, yeah, you said that already. He goes, I started to giggle. And I said, what? He goes, I started to giggle. I go, what the hell were you giggling about? He goes, well, here's where the story gets good. I was like, all right. She notices me giggling, and she says, what are you giggling about? And he's I tell her straight up, look right in her face and tell her, man, I'm making your dreams come true, ain't I?
Wow. Wow.
She stops him before he can start again and says, this is over. You need to get off me and get out of here.
Wow.
The guy actually told her, I'm making your dreams come true. There's a short list of things you can't say if you are involved with a woman
in that manner.
And that's happening.
Yeah.
There's a short list of things you can't say because it's just too much.
Yeah.
Because mind you, in the heat of passion, you can pretty much get away with saying
a lot of things.
You can get a lot of play. That's one of those things you can't say.
No, it's not.
I don't care how intoxicated you are. You gotta have. We talked about the mind of a man the other day. You just gotta know certain situations.
Right.
You just can't say certain things. And this homeboy managed to blab it out right to her face while he's still on top of her.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
I thought that was easily the coolest story I've probably ever heard in my life. Because so we started calling him. We're calling him Disneyland because he's the greatest place on earth.
Wow.
Walt Disney.
Thought he was Ric Flair in Space Mountain, huh?
Actually, he thought it was Brad Pitt for a night.
Jeez.
Greatest story ever.
That's
ever,
terrible.
man. It was beyond terrible.
That's
it's like
terrible.
I felt bad for him, but then you realize he's drunk. You feel more bad for the girl because she's probably like, here I am, I'm where I'm out here, I put myself out, and homeboy's just he's gonna say that to me. Yeah.
That's all bad.
I couldn't have said it any better. All bad. That's just the way it is.
Damn.
So I just wanted to get that story in there. That just call that one of the irregular stories of the podcast.
That's what you call an epic fail right there.
That's
what that shit
and then
is.
some. So Hall of Fame game last night.
Yes.
Did you see that?
I went to turn it on because they were doing the replay, and as soon as that comes around, they turn around and they're like, hey, the game didn't happen. I'm like, what? I started looking into it this morning. From the article that I read, it said that the field was inspected in advance and cleared by the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That then apparently that the team, Irsay said that this was 2 hours before. Then they painted the field, and whoever painted the field, the paint that they used became like a tar-like substance that got sticky in the end zone and at midfield. And on top of that, the field, I guess it'd be turf, is what they used. They imported it from Louisiana's Mercedes Superdome, was hard as a rock. And so the conditions were deemed unplayable, and they canceled the game.
Oh, wow. I didn't see the part about that's El Tigre. I didn't see the part about the turf being hard.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that one. All I heard was about the paint. I'm sitting there thinking, man, I remember high school one time, we were playing San Joaquin Memorial out there in Fresno, and there had to have been 3 or 4 inches of mud. You want to talk about trying to pull your foot out when you're running the ball. It's just not happening. I was about ready to call him some instant pies, but I'm telling you what, the thing about it being hard on the ground, I can appreciate that a little bit. But then again, are you trying to play in Oakland or San Diego in the middle of the freaking, or the end of the summer? Those fields aren't exactly soft. The base that they put under natural or under the turf most of the time is not soft. It's a pretty hard turf if you've ever been on those. It's not exactly the softest thing to fall on.
Right.
So I don't know. I saw the announcement when they were making it. Because like I said, we were running behind at the wrestling event.
Right.
So he was talking about, I wish someone would have been around to make this kind of decision when my kid was playing, because this is a potentially dangerous situation. And I'm thinking, dude, how much are these guys getting paid to play this? I mean, at what point do you tell them, hey, stop being a bunch of pussies and get out there and play football. Knock the shit out of each other like they used to do in the 70s.
Yeah.
80s and 90s. These players have gotten real baby, and I'm borderline going, I'm not watching football. What are you watching now? It can't be called football. This is not the football I grew up watching or playing or even spectating as a young adult, because it's changed so much in the last 10 years.
Right.
I don't want to sit here and downplay the seriousness of concussions, because there is a seriousness to it and you got to be aware of it, but at the same time, you're getting paid pretty good.
I understand the traditionalism of the game, if that's a word. Being the Hall of Fame game, you play it at that stadium.
Yeah.
But, excuse me, if you have a game like this, why is this not inspected in advance, way in advance, knowing that you're importing grass? You're not sitting here going, we're just doing maintenance and fixing this, and then there's a problem.
Yeah.
No, you brought in a whole new field. You bring in a group of guys that painted the field, and there's all these issues, and nobody knew about it until 2 hours before the game.
Yeah,
That's unacceptable for a $12 billion entity.
Yes, definitely. This is the proof of Goodell being one-track minded with what he does. He doesn't have the full scope of what's going on in front of him all the time. The guy's single-track minded about what he does within that league. He wants to do certain things. He doesn't want to pay attention to other things.
I don't understand why this game can't be played at Cleveland Stadium, where you know that it's kept up on. You know that it's okay. Or you do it at an outdoor practice facility.
Yeah. They were mentioning reimbursing for tickets, and I said, I think the ticket is the least expensive thing in that trip. Mm-hmm. You're there for 4 or 5 days
for the ceremony, and everything.
Ceremonies, the induction. You're there to go visit Canton. You're there to see the game.
The experience.
I mean, that just zapped 3/4 of your cost right out of it.
Yep.
So I got to see Canton. I could see Canton for half the price any other time of the year without a football game.
Yeah.
Why would I spent money to come? This was supposed to be the culmination of the week. Now all of a sudden I don't have that in front of me.
It marks football being back.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? I mean, we didn't have a kickoff yet.
Did you happen to see any of the ceremonies and the speeches?
No, I'm not.
I did. The one I did want to see was Brett Favre. His wife, Deanna, was the one that inducted him. I haven't had a chance to watch it back yet. That's the plan tonight.
I've never been. The only one I did watch was when Walter Payton's son was on there. I did watch that one. I thought that one, Walter Payton was a big inspiration to me as a youngster. Watching him play in the late 80s. That was real inspirational to me. Another one was Derek Thomas. Was another one that I watched just because, again, a player who spoke to me a lot when I watched him play on TV. Montana, not. And there wasn't... Brett Favre, you're definitely going to... He's one of the guys you're going to say, I saw him play in his prime.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could see wanting to see him.
Yeah.
And
an interesting choice in picking his wife. Because most guys don't look at it that way.
Yeah.
They look at it as picking a coach or another player or a personal friend.
Well, Brett has always said throughout his whole career, his wife was the most influential person in his playing days. That's.
But here's why I think that in the grander scope of things, it's so much bigger than what people realize. In this day and age, and in recent times, how relevant has been spousal abuse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Equality, men and women, that type of deal. So to bring your wife in, who, outside of her battle with her health issues, hadn't been in the spotlight at all.
Yeah.
Even during those health issues, didn't want to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
You're literally taking what is supposed to be the culmination of your career and saying, I want you to share this with me.
Yeah.
I think that to a lot of people, it goes over their head. And I think,
for sure,
to me personally, as somebody who genuinely loves sports and a good story, that right there is definitely a cherry on top of a career for Brett Favre.
Yeah, definitely. And he would probably be the first one to say that's a big exclamation point for his wife to do it. Because like I said, he's mentioned many times how without her support through his career, he never would have played as long. He says, I probably was still the player, but the longevity that I had was a lot and due to the support she gave me when I didn't feel like I wanted to put any more out there. She said, you need to make sure this is what you want to do. He's talked about it many times, He talks about that 1 year with the Jets. He talks about the Vikings. He talks about everything that he did, but it's always as a base off of what she told him going into seasons.
Do you know the one person that got the invite that didn't make it?
No.
Adrian Peterson.
He didn't make it?
Nope. He didn't make it because they're in camp. He didn't make it.
Wow.
That was the deal.
Come on. Why would you do that? these players, this camp is real important. They got to see where they're at physically. They got to know what's working, what's not, coming off an off season. You know,
I think that this should be fittingly scheduled so that players can attend. You're talking about guys, especially now in this day and age, that are coming into or already in their prime in the league, watching guys that go into the Hall of Fame that they watched in their prime.
Yeah.
Knowing now that I have the opportunity to be in this professional football league, I would want to be sitting there for some of those guys. But to sit here and schedule it so the only guys that get to be there, if they would like to be, in my estimation, is the two teams that are playing the Hall of Fame game. So, I mean, I don't think it's very fair that you shut out 30 other teams and go, hey, man, sorry, you guys are in camp, figure it out. When you're watching people who paved the way for you get put in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, definitely something to consider. Again, you would think a commissioner would have changed that at some point to say we want to. This is a league thing, not a player thing. You know, this is we're appreciating the history of our game by honoring these guys. Mm-hmm. And again, not gonna happen with Goodell. I don't. Who knows when he's finally gonna decide to leave office? But you never know.
Well, when you make $12 million a year to keep fucking up, I don't think he's leaving.
I agree. Andre Ward had a fight this week. Did you see that?
No.
Okay, Andre Ward is what's similar situation to we talked about last week. Why can't I think
Frampton
of his name?
and
not Carl Frampton, but it was the other guy. That's the guy Frampton's gonna fight. Mikey Garcia.
There you go.
Promoter issues. Now, Andre Ward is I don't want to say a local cat, but he's a local guy. He fought over at the Tachi Palace in Lemoore. We used to watch, me and Ralph used to watch him over there. We probably saw him a good 6 or 7 times before Tudor took him and did more with him than everybody else. But what's funny was these guys stick with these promoters for so long, and then they have issues. Andre Ward's been off for 2 years because, again, promoter issues. You know,
right.
Finally back. He's going to be fighting Sergey Kovalev. I want to say it was November they're scheduled to fight, so he wanted a tune-up fight. Andre Ward took a fight. They were supposed to fight at the weight class is 178. They weigh in, they fight. Ward can't finish him. That's disturbing if you're Ward because Kovalev is going to hit you, and he did get hit a couple of times this weekend. So that was a little bit different for him. And I think there's some more. I think he came out of there with more questions than anything, you know. But hey, there's a reason we play. There's a reason everything happens like that, you know. So Ward, good win. It was pretty much a shutout. 10 rounds is nothing, but definitely some questions going into the next fight because Kovalev is not a pretender. He is a contender. He's a champion, and he can hit. And if Ward's not careful, he's going to get caught. A little bit of basketball, men's basketball, first round.
The Olympics?
Yes.
Team USA just beat Venezuela in group play. Was it yesterday?
Was that
or
yesterday?
was it earlier
I think
this
that was
morning?
Today.
Might have been early this morning.
Yeah.
Started off slow out the gate, but they wound up winning 113-69 was the final. 2-0 in group play. You want to talk about something that's impressive? The women right now. Sweet Jesus. They set a record for most points with a victory in the difference, man. I mean, they're smoking people. It's pretty crazy how good they really are right now. Michael Phelps in the relay race, they win gold. The United States wins gold. Son of a bitch gets medal number 19.
Yeah, I think one of the least talked about things this Olympics. When I say least, I mean it was overshadowed by the whole Rio and the Zika and the athletes not wanting to go and Russia and Brazil. There was overshadowed. We're saying there are, and not just us. There are 2 athletes returning to the Olympics this year: Phelps and the Jamaican sprinter. What can't
Bolt?
Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt.
These guys are chasing big time records. You know, when Phelps first started, the whole thing was Mark Spitz and his 9 gold. You know, Phelps didn't get it the first time, but he got it the second time, and now he's starting to eclipse total medal records. And nobody's really saying anything about him possibly being. I would say it. He's the greatest swimmer of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we forget how young this cat is. You know, I think he's 29 now or 28, He's not that old.
Yeah, he's not.
This guy could conceivably swim another 10 years, 8 years, you know? Him and his 10,000 calorie diet, you know?
Hey, that's what happens when you got the munchies.
When you're walking around and
Hey, I don't give a shit what people say. Say what you want about him smoking weed, but when he's in the water, he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy, he does, like I said, the best swimmer that ever jumped in the pool. There's not, I can't think of anybody, and I can remember as far back, and this is me, as far back as 88. I don't remember Mark Spitz. That was before me, before I started watching Olympics. But I've seen Phelps. We've seen him eclipse records. You know, usually you'll get one good Olympics. Maybe you'll get two if you're lucky. But Phelps has definitely done it. I think this is his third or fourth Olympics. And Usain Bolt, again, another guy, just a physical freak because he's so tall and he's big and he's powerful.
6'5".
You know. He was one of the first guys to turn that height and that power into something special. You know,
he said his goal this year is to hit sub 19 seconds in the 200.
I don't know if he'll do that, only because he's a couple of years removed from that world record time.
All I want to know is, are his shoes going to catch on fire?
No way. If you watch that guy run, the faster he runs, the better he's striding. He's not like a Tyson Lewis or Justin Gatlin or any of those guys where they've got a decent stride, but you can see the power coming out of the legs. This guy's just got like super stride, and he's got power behind that stride, but it's not something where you visibly see him bearing down to sprint. He's just got good open speed, and I don't know if he can get much faster. I mean, it'd be awesome. Don't get me wrong, it'd be awesome. I remember when Johnson set the record in '96 in Atlanta. We were all blinking, going, "Yeah, that'll never get broken. That's never gonna happen."
Yeah.
You know. And then we sit here and we watch Usain beat it by like 0.6 of a second or something like that. It was ridiculous. And I'll stick by it. I don't think anybody will ever beat that one. That was just being a track runner. It was something that you didn't ever think was going to happen, not because someone couldn't work towards it, but you never thought you'd saw the physical ability of someone to do it. And when this guy stepped out at 6'5", you went, yeah, this guy can do it. Yeah. This guy can do it because he's got the combination. And like I said, most of the time the tall guys, they're all about stride. They can't really power their way through it. And you've seen Bolt do it a couple of times already.
Yeah.
So, again, we'll see what happens. But
the surprising thing from the Olympics, the Williams sisters in doubles lose for the first time ever. That was interesting to see. But Serena did win today individually to move on.
2 sets.
So that's good for her. Medal count total right now after 2 days. The United States leads in total medals with 19. You want to take a guess who's in second?
Let's see. I want to say probably, the swimming's going on. It's probably a European country. No? South American country? Australia?
It's the Chinese.
The Chinese.
So,
gymnastics is going on too right now. Okay.
So while we may own them in the pool, they own our ass in debt. So import-export business wins on this one.
Wow, you went there with it.
Just stating the obvious.
Stating the obvious. Thank you, Captain Obvious. There'll be Olympics going on for another 2 weeks. I usually don't start watching until track and field.
I kind of try and catch games in between. Like, it's hard to watch some of the group play for basketball because it gets so ugly.
Yeah, it gets ugly fast. One of the reviews I read was that there won't even be anybody within 30 points of the U.S. The real look is you're looking at the bronze medal game.
Well, here's the problem, and this is the problem that was addressed early on, and they've actually taken it to the committee a couple times, the Olympic Committee. In '92, that was the first time that pros were allowed to play in the Olympics. You saw what happened. It was the creation of the Dream Team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, hold on. Minus Isaiah Thomas. I just want to throw that out there because that guy should have been on that team, but because of the image issue, they only wanted the 3 golden boys. You may continue.
Let me go ahead and say this right now. Free and clear, so that way this is completely open and full disclosure. Fuck Isaiah Thomas. The only spot he could have taken was Christian Laettner. So unless he was going to play power forward, let that shit go.
You did not think he could be on that roster, huh?
I'm not saying he couldn't have been, but there were several people that could have been on that roster that were not. And for him, just because his coach was on that team and he had issues with Michael, well, guess what? You want to knock people down, you want to make Bill Laimbeer and all these Dennis Rodman your muscle and all this shit, sit the fuck down and take your consequences. You missed out on a pun intended, golden opportunity to be a part of something that was amazing and that will likely never be repeated again.
True.
And you want to sit here and tell me that guess who created that image? He did.
Yeah.
There's nobody else that's more responsible for that than Isaiah Thomas, because he didn't like being the goody two-shoes guy. Then he felt that the Pistons needed a different image change along with the other people on that team. But as far as him not being a part of that team, there's a reason he wasn't. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. Deserving or not, he wasn't a part of it. Let it go. Okay. Now, that being said, it's tough, man. With the way that came about with the pros, that there's no other league like the NBA as far as competition level goes.
No, there's not.
There are other European countries that play pro ball and that they had, and some of them get drafted. You've seen some of them get drafted. You see some of these kids that don't want to go to college for a year, but they want to play basketball, and they go overseas, and that's how they get their year in away from the pros, and they come back and play in the NBA. The competition level is just that much different because basketball is one of the 3 major sports in the United States. Yeah. Whereas around the world, you're lucky if it's in the top 5.
I was gonna say I don't even think it's in the top 5 anywhere.
That's what I say. You're lucky if you get that. So when you get to the Olympics and you got all these people that are sitting here going, "Oh, well, this team's decent," well, then they run into the buzzsaw that is Team USA. Yeah. It's a whole different animal. And I'm not saying that there's not that America's number 1 and that nobody can knock them off. On any given night, anybody can lose. Yeah. That's part of the thrill of why we watch the game. But also at the same time, you have to understand that on paper, there's not a whole lot of teams that are going to compete with Team USA as far as basketball. Yeah. And the women now are making that very evident. Yeah. So, and the women's team, I love the fact that they're doing so. Good for them. Especially right now, the WNBA and all that stuff hitting 20 years. Good for them to show some dominance in the Olympics.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see, is there anything else from the Olympics I'm missing? I don't think so.
I don't believe so. It's been relatively quiet because we're still in the first week. We're actually
second day.
Second day. I mean, until they really hit the ground running, which I think want to be Friday. Thursday or Friday is when everything will kind of really start taking off. We got, we were talking about it earlier, where it'd be nice and I know there's advertising and broadcasting rights, but it'd be nice to see DirecTV do something with that like it does.
Like the mixed channel with tennis
football, like the Red Zone. You know how the Red Zone in football, how they got all the screens up there and they're showing.
Well, they do that like with Wimbledon and they
do
it with golf.
The Masters does it.
Where they have the different
Well, and they really expand on golf because they have they cover Amen Corner and then they have the preferred groupie or the what do they call it, the spotlight group for the day. I mean, I would have loved to have seen them give you a channel for track and field and a channel for swimming,
channel for basketball
and hockey and. Well, everything that...
The other fun sport that's on right now, I forgot. Volleyball.
No, beach volleyball.
Hey, both. I mean, say what you want. There's some girls in the Olympics that play indoor, and they're good looking. They're not bad. I don't care how tall they are. You know what I mean? I know there's got to be some guys out there that say, hey, you know what? I'd climb that tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure that'll come out a couple of times, actually. It'd be nice to see them do that, but understanding that somebody coughed up money for the broadcast rights, which was probably NBC.
It is.
So you understand that they got the rights to it. They're the ones that are
NBC Universal.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of crock of shit. I wish they would just broadcast for the good of the people. It's starting to look like the Running Man here, and the fucking TV shows take over shit and everything. But
yep.
Got Terrell Pryor at Cleveland Browns camp.
It's not the first time.
Playing receiver.
Not the first time.
I know. But are they? Will they leave him there though?
I don't know if he'll even make the team. To be honest,
you don't think so?
They did announce today that early this morning, Robert Griffin III will be their starting quarterback.
Yes, they did.
Good for him.
You know what? I'm looking forward to watching him get his ass whipped.
I hope. Well, he's in your division. I get it.
Well, no. I've had this discussion with guys. One of the guys at work is a Cowboy fan, and when the trade happened, or when the signing happened. One thing he says, you got RG3 in your division. I go, that fool's going to get knocked the fuck out. He goes, what makes you so sure? I said, let's just evaluate for a second the quarterbacks of the AFC North. Okay, you got Andy Dalton, who's the ginger, the
redheaded stepchild,
the green guy of the bunch with 5 years. He's a big boy,
right?
Whatever. You got Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh, another big boy. Cleveland's been in flux for a while, but nobody they've had there has really flourished because they're not drafting big quarterbacks, or I don't even want to say sturdy, stable quarterbacks. These guys are trying to run away from arguably the best defensive division in the NFL.
Right.
You know, I've seen Andy Dalton get the shit beat out of him. I've seen Ben Roethlisberger get the shit beat out of him.
Yep.
You know, Flacco's done a good job in Baltimore, but that's another guy, big statured guy. He's not a little quarterback.
He's a big dude, but let's give credit where credit is due. His biggest accomplishment is swindling the Ravens into a major contract.
Since the Super Bowl, yes. Yeah. But RG3 just does not fit that mold. I mean, you're not going to outrun, you know, you're playing the defensive line of the Bengals, you're playing the linebackers of the Steelers, and you're playing the overall D.
He's another one of those guys that we've talked about here recently about putting in a system that fits him.
Yeah.
The first year as a rookie where he flourished so well was because they used some of what he did at Baylor.
Yes.
Mike Shanahan sucked it up and said, we're going to put in some package stuff for him. They did that.
And it worked.
And it worked beautifully.
Now, I would argue...
Then he got hurt.
Some of that argument, though, that's the NFC East. Those defenses are built different. That style will work in the NFC East.
Well, here's my point, though, is that then he gets hurt. And then they go conservative.
Yeah.
And they try to do what they did to Michael Vick in Philly and make him a pocket passer where he only runs when he gets flushed out.
Yeah, and he's not that kind
that's
of
not him. Full leg brace or not, that's not him.
Yeah.
He may not be the runner that he was before, but that's the type of player that he is. And for him to succeed, he's going to have to do that. And not to compare the two because they're not even on the same level, because Ben Roethlisberger has Super Bowl rings and experience, and I believe that he'll go down as a Hall of Fame quarterback in history. But the way that he extends plays is something that RG3 can learn from in that division that can be helpful if they put him in the right system.
I don't know if RG3 can extend plays like that. I think if they design him to move around, he's fine. Because I think a lot of what Roethlisberger does is not so much extend them, but he creates them. So where everybody thought he was going down, all of a sudden he just slipped out of a D lineman's freaking full grasp, and now you got Antonio Brown running, or Martavis Bryant, or Hines Ward it was for a long time. Those receivers.
Well, I disagree though. When he gets flushed out, or even when it starts in the pocket, he does a good job of looking guys off.
Oh yeah,
that's one.
Oh, definitely.
He's majorly known for looking
probably
guys off.
Probably the best.
And then once the lineman, once he takes that time to he lets plays develop.
Yeah.
And then once that, if it's a broken play, then he has a good job of slipping away from those defensive linemen.
And they've gotten used to him of knowing, hey, don't stop running your route. This guy gets away. This guy knows how to find you. Just keep running your route.
And I think that that's something that for RG3 in that division, Roethlisberger's been successful in those instances. That you're making a defense play the entire possession.
Yeah, not just
we got him 5 seconds. He's stuck.
So can stop covering.
Yeah. No, and I think he can learn from that. And if you give him the threat, like I said, you put him in a package of plays or packages to use throughout the game where he's mobile. It's designed for him to be mobile. Now that extending the play like that, when he gets flushed out, he becomes a dual threat, and now you have to respect that.
Yeah.
Maybe not entirely where you're like, we can sell out on him every now and again because of that leg, but you would have to respect that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that he can be successful there. I hope for Cleveland's sake and his sake that this is something that works out for the both of them.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. Hugh Jackson is very good at working with QBs. The guy has proven to be able to do it no matter where he goes. I would not have regarded Andy Dalton as a high pick, but they were willing to use the second pick on him in the second, or the first pick in the second round when they took him, and they paired him up with a good star receiver, and he's flourished.
Okay.
A lot of people would say he hasn't done. You could say whatever you want about not taking the best step, but the system was built around for him to do what he does good, which is pocket pass. That's what Andy Dalton does.
So I'm going to ask you this. Now, where we are now, with both quarterbacks at each place, is Kirk Cousins better than RG3?
Are you talking about in their own system, or?
I'm just saying, if you have to pick gun to your head, who's going to have a better year? Who are you taking?
I'm taking Cousins because he's got more weapons around him right now.
No, I'm not talking about what's going on around. I'm talking based on their own personal skill set.
Right now, today,
Yes.
I'm taking Kirk Cousins.
Why is that?
Because RG3 still hasn't proven that he's got mobility. We don't know
How mobile he really is.
We don't know how mobile he really is. He never really got, and this is what was jacked up for him. He never got the opportunity to get back in there and prove how healthy he was. Now, he did sit for most of the year last year, the tail end of it too, mind you. He didn't get playing time at the end.
Yeah.
It was in the beginning. So maybe now he's let's say he's 100% healed. And if he's not, he was doing something wrong. He should be 100% right now. There should be no lingering effects. One of the things that happened with Carson Palmer, he had the throwing glitch for almost 2 years before he started to trust that knee going forward again. So a lot of the experts would say when you get hurt like that, it affects the way you do things.
Well, we've talked about this before with Kevin Garnett in the 2010 playoffs. Right before, during that season, he blows out his knee and misses the entire playoffs. The following year that they come back, he has a mediocre year. Or 2009 it happened. Celtics only made the Eastern Conference Finals and wind up losing to the Magic. The following year, not till the last leg of the season, the last 2 months, give or take, and into the playoffs, did Kevin Garnett look like Kevin Garnett. Yeah. Because it literally took a whole year of him to get comfortable with that again.
So, and I'm telling you, with Carson Palmer, it took 2 years before he started looking like Carson Palmer, or remnants of it. And you're seeing what Carson Palmer was still capable of. So the real question is going to be, from what I've seen in the last year, I'm taking Kirk Cousins. One, he's healthy. Two, he'll in the right system, mind you, he's still going to be able to do decent. RG3 has just not proven that he's healthy yet.
Did Washington fuck Robert Griffin III by taking Kirk Cousins?
Yes, because you didn't sell RG3 the team. You told RG3, okay, we got you, but don't worry about it. We got someone who could probably handle it. That's always such a... It's not like they went first round.
Let me rephrase that. Did they honey dick Robert Griffin III?
Yes, they did, definitely. He got it from management when they drafted that year, and then he got it from Shanahan in the playoffs. He should have been pulled as soon as they knew he was hurt and not put back in. You don't know how much more extensive his damage was because he stayed back in. Hey, hats off to the guy. You had balls, you went back in there, but there's sometimes you got to have brains too. And nobody around him had brains too, and that's what's fucked up, is that's what really hurt him, was that he got hurt and they didn't take him out. I'll always go back to that 2005 playoff game between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Carson goes down, and he said, I could have walked, but they told me no. They said I was staying off it. Damn, guy's got 2 torn ligaments in his knee, you know? You just got to have the right people around you to protect you, too.
Here's the problem, is that much like in many sports that we see in other sports, like basketball, you don't have that. It's not like, I got to play through that. Because it's an up and down game. You're constantly running. There's no pause in between that. Baseball, chances are if a guy gets hurt, I could probably play a little bit because we got a day off and travel coming up or something like that. And then they put on the DL if they need to be. Yeah. Football's not like that. Yeah. You get 1 game a week. That's it. There's guys that are willing to sacrifice practice all week long just to play that game.
Yeah. Well, you got guys that
take 3 days off. Well, here's the problem. Is you see a guy like Ben Roethlisberger. Plays with a broken foot. Plays with broken ribs. Plays with a busted knee. Does all this shit. And then you see him, as painful as it might be successful in those moments. Oh, yeah. And it makes a wonderful story and a classic, game or moment to be looked back on for sure.
Find that guy in 15 years
but
and see what's going to be.
See how he gets out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, and that goes to the people around him wanting to say, hey, look, man, this is about more than just this game or this season. This is about, they don't talk about it a lot, but the longevity of your career. You want to be competitive, but at the same time, you got to take care of yourself. Most of these guys will stop playing inside of 30, 28, 29. The lucky ones will play from 30 to 35, and then you're done. Newsflash, 35 is not old. There's a lot of life on the other side still at 35. You don't want to spend that getting out of bed and feeling like your back's going to break in half, or maybe your knees don't work right, and Ben's going to be the poster child for that when it happens, because I've seen that guy firsthand take some ass whoopings from linemen. I've seen him take some shots. He's gotten his knees. I mean, kudos to the guy. I mean, same division. I've hated that team forever, but you can't have nothing but respect for the guy because he's a damn good ball player. His will You know, maybe not the most skilled guy, but the damn arm strength is definitely there, and the will to play is there.
Miami of Ohio's finest.
The guy knows how to win
Carolina
games.
State. Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio. Yeah, I remember that year.
Yeah, I can remember.
Came out same year as Carson.
Yep.
Or the same year. Carson was a 2-pick or 1-pick. Carson was a 1. Ben was down there a little bit, but. You know, we talk a lot.
That's crazy to think that they've been in the league that long.
Yeah, Carson's talking about retirement after next year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what their defense, Arizona's defense.
Speaking of retirement, A-Rod.
He pulled the curtain before the Yankees could cut him.
The Yankees said, "We'll make you a special instructor to the team, and you're no longer going to play." And he said, "Just let me finish out the week." So Friday the 12th will be his last game. They're playing Boston this week, starting tomorrow in Boston. People are kind of wondering what kind of reception he'll get since he's been there. For those of you who know his history with the Red Sox, he almost became a Red Sox.
Yeah.
And the league didn't allow it. They said no, that it wasn't fair compensation to what was getting in return for A-Rod to Texas. And A-Rod became a Yankee. And his history with the Red Sox once he became a Yankee is historical. The fight with Jason Varitek.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The 2004 ALCS, the playoffs where he runs down the first baseline and knocks the ball out of the basement, out of Bronson Arroyo's hand as Bronson Arroyo's covering first base, and then stands like a kid who just spilt milk, like, what? It wasn't me at second base. It's historical. But there's a lot of people going, don't be surprised if he doesn't get much out of Boston.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, good riddance, you piece of shit. Twice, not once, twice you got busted for PEDs.
You know what? Before he got busted, I remember thinking, this guy stays healthy. I'd like to see him break Bonds' record so we got someone clean on the other side, and then nobody will talk about Bonds anymore.
Bonds has never been proven to be dirty.
Okay, we've had this conversation.
Allegedly.
I'm just saying there's no asterisk.
You know what Barry Bonds said to all those people that were like, hey, you're fucking dirty, you're taking steroids. You know what he told them?
What?
Nothing. He went out and hit another goddamn home run.
I'm just saying your head and your arms don't get that proportionally big, okay? It just doesn't happen, all right?
Maybe he was drinking Badger milk.
He could have been, or whatever, but I always thought that A-Rod was going to be the one to pass, and he could stay healthy after a while, and then he gets on the PEDs, and it's like, dude, are you... Man, Gonzalez is another one right now. I'd love to see him stay healthy and start hitting a lot of home runs, but you realize how special those hitters were from that last generation because, I mean, you're talking about Bonds, you're talking about Bonilla, you're talking about A-Rod, Jeter,
Jeter's not as a hitter.
Well, I don't want to say a home run hitter. A consistent hitter.
Oh, yeah.
The ability to stay consistent in what you do at behind the plate. These guys were all phenomenal hitters.
Yeah.
I mentioned power guys, and then I threw Jeter in there. My bad. But
Griffey.
Griffey.
Ortiz.
Griffey, the combo
Manny Ramirez.
Guy. Yeah, you're talking about guys who could see the ball. Had an eye for the ball.
Not see the ball like Darryl Strawberry on Coke where they could see every stitch, but...
But the guy's hand-eye, I mean, that last generation of hitters, I don't think we ever see that again. Not as plentiful as we saw it. No. It's gotten so narrow to where you're either a home run hitter or you're not.
Yeah.
What was Ichiro's...
Just cracked 3,000.
I mean...
There's an argument on how fair or foul that 3,000 is, too. Not due to PEDs, but because of how he played in getting that 3,000.
Well, 3,000 is 3,000. I'm sorry. You can't argue that he got 3,000 hits. Can you argue how he got them? Oh, sure. We can argue that till we're blue in the face. But the bottom line is the ball came off his bat 3,000 times and he was on first base or beyond. That's the bottom line here. No steroids, no performance enhancing. I mean, so what? He didn't hit 1,000 home runs.
The days of the 3,000 guys are long gone.
I don't think you're going to see it anymore just because these guys play. This is another argument that you're going to have time after time. These guys play so hard from the time they're about 10 until they're done in the MLB, whether it be 30 or 35. You're starting to see that ceiling get lower. It used to be 40. It's 35. It's going to be 30. And at some point, they're going to say, I can take a minor leaguer, run him through my farm system for 3 years from 18 to 21. And by the time he's 22, he's ready to go. And there we go.
Speaking of rookies, Andrew, I I'm gonna fuck his name up. Bendentity, something like that. He's plays left field for the Red Sox. Got called up on the 4th. We're watching the game last night, and my girlfriend looks at me and goes, "That kid looks like a baby." When his picture comes up on the screen, I said, "Look at the year he was born."
It's like 2001.
1994, he was born.
Wow.
Making his professional debut 4 days ago.
33.
94, buddy. He was born in 94.
23?
Yeah.
23?
He had never played AAA ball. Only played AA.
Went straight from AA to MLB, huh? Wow.
They brought him up. We go watch him. 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs.
Wow.
Looked good out there.
Well, hey, like I said, some of these guys, we've seen. We saw the Lee kids play here in Dinuba. One of them is playing where? Where'd he go? He got drafted Fresno to. Somebody drafted him just recently.
Wait, say that again?
It's Dylan, right?
Oh, Lee.
Dylan.
Yeah.
He got drafted by.
Shit. Who took him? Let me look real quick. I'll look that up.
I remember him playing Little League here in Dinuba. Played hard. Played a good, strong player. Raised well by his parents. Don't be surprised when he starts having success. He's 20, 21. He's a pitcher, though.
He pitches.
Yeah, he's a pitcher.
Yeah.
So
he went to Fresno State, and then from there, where'd he go? Let's see here. Yeah, he graduated from Dinuba High School, and then went on to play baseball at Fresno State. The first few games, people had a hard time dealing with him because he was getting lit up quite a bit.
Yeah.
He was drafted by the Marlins, the Miami Marlins.
And he's at their AA, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, I mean, a kid, congrats to him. Your success, it's part of your hard work. It's part of what your parents taught you, practicing what you were taught. And you'll see his little young face on a billboard or on a scoreboard at some point, These kids, like I said, they play so hard from 10 to 20. And a lot of them, he went the college route. Smart kid, I'm sure that had to do with his parents. His parents
Absolutely
pushing him through college, But they got a lot of those kids. They go 18 years old. They're drafted right out of high school, go into the farm system, play there for 2 or 3 years, and then they pull them up and they need them. Come playoff time, we need that extra hitter. We need that extra bat.
Yep.
Well, we got this guy in our AA or AAA team. Well, let's take a look at him real quick. Boom, boom, give him a call. You're over. Let's go. You're gonna have a chance to show what you got, kid. Most of them perform. The pitching is definitely not what it used to be. Some are stronger, but I think more and more of these kids are seeing the ball and the stitches move like Strawberry used to, and they're not on the coke.
I disagree. I don't think you can get that close.
But
it's like the go-go gadget eyes. Daryl Strawberry on coke.
Well, we've talked about how I've asked you sometimes when you're shooting, when you're on, and you're like, well, we talked about that game where you had the 6 3-pointers in high school. And you were like, I don't know, the basket just looked like it was the size of a garbage can,
Yeah.
It's got to be the same thing with baseball. They see the ball coming and it just looks
like a basketball.
Coming down. I'm just going to stick this bat right out there and boom, knock the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens a lot. So, again, they go so hard from when they're young. It doesn't take as much time to get them ready, I don't want to say that we required more time, and I say we because that's my generation of athletes. The Jerome Bettises, the Heinz Wards, those guys. I'm the same age as those guys. We spent time. We didn't have the
anybody else pick up that those were 2 Steelers that he named as a Bengals fan. Just curious.
We could talk Corey Dillon. Kajana Carter never made it. Carl Pickens. I could send up.
Hey, I got Carl Pickens' football card at my house. Don't go there.
I got it here somewhere too, but. You talk about that generation of athletes, those were really the last set of guys to go all the way through college and then go play professional, whether it was baseball. Andrew Jones was another one, the longtime Brave.
Yep.
I remember when he burst onto the scene in the World Series, and I think it was 95 or 96.
Yeah, 95.
95. Again, he was a youngster.
That was the old school Braves, man. Smoltz, Maddox.
Avery, Maddox.
Oh, man. Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's an old school athlete who worked your way. We didn't have the travel ball system that was in place now.
Yeah.
The competitive.
The younger
sports.
circuits weren't there.
We played Little League. We played Pop Warner, and you played 2 years if you were lucky, and then you went through high school, and if you were real good, you got an opportunity at college. You know? So you worked your way through it. With these kids now, like I said, 10 years old, you're full throttle travel ball, whether it's basketball, baseball, could be football.
That being said, we've talked about this a little bit about pushing kids and the participation stuff and all that. The Olympics are going on, and not talking about basketball, but like gymnasts. Who else would be in there? I guess rowing, track and field for sure. when it comes back, wrestling, those types of sports that are in the Olympics, a lot of those don't have professional type deals going on. They have smaller ideas of that, but they don't have a legitimate professional that makes big money like we see in other sports. When your goal is to become an Olympian, do you push yourself at such a young age that it is borderline too much?
I would say yes. And I think the example you would look at is gymnast.
Yes.
Track and field, I would say probably not so much. I mean, I don't want to say they don't push themselves, but I don't think.
But it's more of a relevant thing because you have track and field in middle school, high school, college.
Gymnasts are the ones I would say because they have shows on gymnasts on like Lifetime and stuff like that you could watch where you see how hard those gymnasts are pushed not only by their coaches but by their parents. Because there isn't a professional league. If you're going to make it as a gymnast, you make it at the Olympics. That's your platform.
Right.
Because once you're done with that, and you're 15 years old, apparently you're old.
Yeah.
I remember. I want to say it was. I don't think it was 96. I think it was 92. I forget her name. Shannon. I can't think. She was the oldest one on the gymnastics team that year. She was 18.
Yeah.
And you start to look at them. I mean, you see these Chinese. They bring 10 and 12-year-olds. The Russians, the same thing. If you're 10 and 12 and you're in the Olympics, when did you start to be that good? 2, 3? I mean, did you literally walk into the gym the next day? I mean, holy crap! I don't want to say it's ridiculous, but it's ridiculous. What are you getting pushed to? And what, more importantly, let's say you did start at 4 years old. Okay, mind you, most 4-year-olds' vocabulary isn't that extensive just yet, but you do start at 4, and at 13, and that's old sometimes. At 13, you become the gold medal gymnast you dreamed about since your 5th birthday party. God knows why you would do that, but 13, you just won your gold medal. What's in life after that?
Well, I was going to ask something along the similar lines that, let's say on the higher end, that you're 16, 17 years old and you win a gold medal. You've spent your entire childhood training.
Yeah.
Like, is it the culmination of that? Absolutely. Is it a great moment? Sure. But we've heard it said hundreds of times of professional athletes who win a championship that, my whole life has culminated in this moment. But then it's over.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. And for some people, and in this situation, these kids, what have they learned? Most of them are on home studies to train that hard.
Yeah.
So they have no social skills.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And especially now, you want to talk about not having no social skills. You take them and put them on home studies, and then on top of that, now you have social media and cell phones at where they are. They got zero social skills. And then you want to go, okay, now go be a productive citizen and kick their ass out of the Olympics because they're too old. You can't make our team anymore.
Or too old, or worse, let's say basketball. You don't play in the NBA, but you're a damn good player. You're not good enough to play with the pros, though. What other avenue is there for you? There isn't. You worked your whole life. You almost got to make the NBA to have a shot at the Olympics. That was my biggest beef about the Olympics now. Pro athletes were never meant to be in the Olympics. It was a showcase of amateur athletics. That was what it was always about. When I was a kid running in track meets at the Junior Olympic AAUs, there were amateurs. The whole focus was you were going to be an amateur athlete. That's what you were. It's not like that anymore for a lot of them, I love that track has a circuit now where they go and they run track meets places and they can win money. It's awesome for them because it's not just the Olympics anymore. You can actually take your running talents out and win a little bit of money.
Well, is that due to competitiveness of Olympics, like saying like, hey, we want every country to be competitive? Or is that due to the almighty dollar of NBC Universal paying millions of dollars for the rights and sponsorships like Nike who own the women's and men's basketball team and the cleats that the track and field's running with and Adidas and all these other people?
That probably has a big part in it because without the professional athletes, how will you advertise Nike? How will you advertise a TV station? The TV station with the ads, how are you going to sell all your products while on commercials if they're not tuning in to watch, I know he's not there, but LeBron James. Yeah. Or you're not tuning in to watch Phil Mickelson play golf. Yeah. Or Tiger Woods if he would have been.
I got a bit of a problem with that being an Olympic sport.
What?
Golf. Like, don't get me wrong, you can make an argument. for it. But like when I think of I don't even look at basketball. Like I look at basketball because it's a global thing. That's why I think okay, I see why it's in. But if you're gonna put it up against the core, wrestling's got to be there.
Well,
track and field's got to be there.
Wrestling should be there more so than golf or basketball.
Yes, absolutely.
Because if you look at the original Olympics, that was one of the original.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like track and field, wrestling,
run,
gymnastics,
jump, and throw.
Yeah,
that's what the premise of the Olympics was supposed to be, and they've commercialized it so much. This is the product we're left with.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see a triathlon or a decathlon of somebody shooting shit with a rifle, and then they got to go track on in the Winter Olympics, ski somewhere else, and shoot another fucking target. But at least be honest with me that that's real shit that you're putting in the Olympics.
Yeah.
To me, them taking the wrestling out of the Olympics was a slap in the face to everybody.
I think, you know what? But people said, I don't like to watch wrestling. When I would argue, and I was a wrestler, I would argue that's as mainstream Olympics as you're going to get of anything you do.
Weightlifting. That should be there. You're testing out to find out who's...
Is it not there anymore?
No, it is. But I'm saying as one, the core. You're trying to find out who the strongest person in the world is.
What about table tennis?
No. Hell no. Don't get me wrong. Entertaining to watch? Sure. But realistically, should it be an Olympic sport? Fuck no.
No. There's a few actually in there that probably don't belong. But again, because it's all going to depend on...
And if you're listening to this and you go, yeah, but Forrest Gump killed it against that Chinese guy. Fuck you. That was fake. All right? You don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways. So, we covered a lot today. We have another Olympic update for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll touch on them.
We got a lot of Olympic stuff coming. We got... is there a big fight coming up this weekend?
No. August 20th is the rematch.
Diaz is going to
smack
McGregor back to Ireland.
That's what you think.
We'll see. I don't know. It might be an interesting bet to place. I got to check those out.
He's right now. McGregor's slightly favored.
I'm gonna take Diaz again. You got to take him while he's the underdog.
Go ahead. Give Vegas your money.
Give DraftKings your money.
That's right. It was not built on winners.
So
one of the things I found interesting though on the Olympic topic, Daniel Tosh made a comment that was kind of funny as part of his act was that how you look at the U.S. Olympic teams and how they legitimately are a melting pot.
Yes.
That it doesn't matter if it's basketball, gymnastics, whatever. You have black people, white people, Mexican, whatever.
You have every variation of nationality because like in other countries, but the U.S. more so just because people flock here.
But when you look at
American something, you're American / something.
Right. And when you look at the Chinese, it's all Chinese, or all Japanese or all Korean or all Jamaican,
And the rules are real flex. I think if you can prove your parents were citizens, you can represent.
There's different things. Like Luol Deng has represented Great Britain in basketball before. There's ways to prove citizenship and stuff like that, so you can play for the team that you feel the country you should represent.
Yeah,
it's understandable.
Awesome a big old melting pot of athletes.
Yeah,
representing the United States in gymnastics for Chinese American.
Yeah,
yeah. It's just it's.
You want to find white people in the Olympics for Team USA: volleyball, beach volleyball, and rowing.
Shooting.
Yeah, probably shooting.
Shooting.
That's not good PR for white people.
The wrestlers actually were usually I don't want to say white guys, but a variation of Caucasian.
White, yeah. That's because black people don't like cauliflower here.
I've seen some.
I don't blame them. I'm not gonna lie, I don't blame them. It's a nasty thing.
It's an ugly feeling, man.
I bet.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see your ear puff up like a popcorn bag.
And explode.
Yeah. Terrible. No. All right, you got what to watch for, what to look for.
What to watch for the rest of the week? See the continued reaction of the U.S. population to the shooting games in the Olympics. We had a young female win a gold medal on Saturday, and social media lashed out at her and said, "Of course the U.S. would win a shooting. We win every division of shooting on the streets and mass shootings." And, come on, man.
Too soon?
Are you guys? It's not even too soon. It's don't be stupid. Why? This young lady's working.
This is the world we live in.
Yeah,
the social media world is gonna shit on you like that.
And it's congratulate this young lady for working her ass off enough to win a gold medal. What were you doing while she was working her ass off? Probably sitting on your ass. Why do that? You know, why do that? Football games will start tomorrow, I think.
Do they?
Wednesday. Tomorrow
Thursday.
or Wednesday.
Thursday is what I heard.
Got some opening games to watch.
Friday the Raiders play the Cardinals.
Yeah.
When do the Bengals play?
Saturday, I believe. I'll have to double check that.
Niners play Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not a real big preseason
and
guy,
the
but
Cowboys, I believe, play Saturday also. I believe so. So the major teams right there.
Good news, Tony Romo's vagina has healed, so he will be able to play.
But there was a picture posted that it looks on that he is quite bloated. So we'll have to see.
That's for my boy Jay out there who was at Cowboys training camp.
He went to Oxnard, took the family. His dad even went. Did you see that? His dad was there.
His dad's a Cowboy fan. It's funny.
Was
It's awesome. So, continue to watch the Olympics. There'll be a lot of coverage. Root on Team USA. Don't chastise them for anything. They're going. Phelps chasing records of his own now. So
female swimmer, I forget who she is from the U.S. They showed a still frame picture of her in the last lap of her swimming. She was literally 2.5 body lengths ahead of everybody else.
Oh wow!
Just dominating.
That's crazy.
Right now, Americans can swim.
Yeah.
What can I tell you? We can swim.
Olympics.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Michael Phelps has an advantage. He's got ears for flippers, But outside of that,
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're gonna wrap this one up. Tune in Friday. We'll be talking a little more variation. We'll see if we can get our baseball expert in here.
Well, yeah, we'll see if we can
We're
get
about
this
due to have
out.
Gio back pretty soon here too. So we'll be getting some.
We got another couple guys in mind. See if we can get some scheduling.
I did hit up one of the midgets to see if we could get them in here, if they'd be willing to.
Right.
And he said next time they're around, to make sure I go check them out, and he'd probably come in the next day if they're in the area again.
Oh.
So we may get a midget wrestler in here. That would be awesome, dude.
That'd be wicked.
Fucking awesome.
That'd be wicked.
Yeah.
There is no height requirement to do the podcast. Just saying.
Just gotta be able to get up on the chair.
That's right. If you could sit down on a regular dining room table chair, you're fine.
You're fine.
You're fine. No issues.
So,
although I would like to see him ride the dog.
That would, well.
I mean, Aqua's got bad hips,
hurt
but
my dog, man.
just saying. But yeah. So I'll have the new episodes up tomorrow. We'll have both of them. The Mind of a Man episode, and then today's episode, they'll both be up. So you got a 2-for-1 since I was out of town this weekend. Definitely going to want to listen to the Mind of a Man episode if you haven't. And as always, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can find us on Instagram at totally_unprofessional. It has our link to Podbean right there in our bio, right there at the top. You just click it, takes you straight there. You don't got to worry about pressing anything. It takes you right to your episodes, and you can find them right there and download them if you download them. If you're listening to us on Podbean, we have a YouTube channel. It is Totally Unprofessional Podcast is the YouTube channel. Leave us a comment on there or the Instagram page. That way that we can get some feedback and make sure that if there's anything you guys want to hear about from the Olympics or anything else, as always, make sure to drop a comment or a question and we'll shout you out and we'll give our best opinions and answers to answer that stuff. Surprisingly, haven't heard from listener number 12 in a while.
No, I know. I wonder.
I'm sure he'll have something coming up.
Yeah.
So like I said, go check out the YouTube channel. Go look at the Instagram page. Follow us. We'll follow you back. Like, share, comment, tell your friends about all this shit. If you listen to us, go ahead and let us know that you listen to us. Don't be afraid to let us know, hey, I like this or I don't like this. We'll take the criticism just the same.
Oh, yeah.
We all have that finger emoji on our phones too. So we'll make sure we let you know what we think in return. Hey, don't lick that. That sounded bad.
I was going to say something about
that. Sounded bad. The dog's not supposed to lick the power cord. All right. So this has been episode 29. I'm Justin.
Emmanuel.
And we've been Totally Unprofessional.